evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Wednesday, March 2, 2022. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. President Ali's regional agricultural agenda backed by US $110 million in financing. Oil monies not yet spent as transfer of funds still pending, says JAGDEO. CARPHA test confirmed OMICRON presence in Guyana. Tomb raiders strike at BUXTON burial ground. And U.S. fugitives wanted for sexual offenses extradited from Guyana. Now for the news in detail. In Belize for the 33rd Intersessional Conference, President Dr. Irfaan Ali has announced a whopping US $110 million financing to CARICOM states with the aim of reducing food imports by 25% by 2025. Jarrell Bryan reports.
President Dr. Irfaan Ali is presently attending the 33rd Intersessional meeting of the CARICOM heads of government in Belize. On Tuesday, he announced that funding had been made available through the CARICOM Sustainability Agriculture Credit Facility. This means funding for up to 5 years for all CARICOM member states. Guyana can access up to $2 billion, while all other CARICOM states can access up to US $100 million, with interest rates as low as 2.5%. This is a special facility designed for agricultural activities including, but not limited to, development of priority crops and capital equipment for farming. Capital is also being provided for feeder roads to provide access to arable lands, bulk storage for crops, processing plants, and shade house farming. According to President Ali, national expenditure on agriculture must be increased if they are to reduce food imports by 2025. Reducing food imports will mean an increase in production of between 25% to 70%. Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News.
Vice President Dr. JAGDEO has disclosed that the $126.7 billion from the Natural Resource Fund is yet to be transferred to the Consolidated Fund so that government can access it to finance major developmental projects. Vanu Manichand tells us more.
The PPPC government is using the oil revenues the country has earned thus far to fund major projects outlined in Budget 2022, which was passed in the National Assembly last month. However, Vice President Dr. JAGDEO, during a recent interview with a social media commentator, revealed that the monies have not been transferred to local accounts as yet.
We have not spent a cent of the oil money as yet. We just passed a budget in which some of the oil resources will come to the budget. But the transfer has not taken place as yet. We haven't spent a cent of oil money as yet, as of this point in time.
Guyana's oil revenues are being held overseas at the New York Federal Reserve Bank. Since oil production commenced in December 2019, Guyana has earned US $607.6 million from its share of 9 oil lifts and from royalty payments at the Liza Wand field in the oil-rich Stabroek Block. With government set to use the $126.7 billion, the country is estimated to earn another whopping US $957.6 million from the oil and gas sector this year. This includes some US $857.1 million from Guyana's 13 lifts of profit oil and an additional US $100.5 million from royalties. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manichand.
The PPPC administration has nominated a former PNC parliamentarian to sit on the Natural Resources Fund Board of Directors, which will have oversight on the spending of the country's oil monies. Here is Vanu Manichand again with the details.
The Parliamentary Committee of Appointments met today to deal with its nominee for the Natural Resource Fund Board. The government nominated former PNC parliamentarian and former CEO of Guyana, Dustin Barrow, to sit on the board. Barrow has been away from active politics for some 2 decades. APNU-AFC opposition, however, nominated Chartered Accountant Christopher Ram and former head of the Environmental Protection Agency, Vincent Adams. However, during discussions, the opposition members walked out of the session. The committee then went ahead and voted in favor of Barrow to be nominated to the board. The nominee's name will now be sent to the National Assembly for final consideration. Under the Natural Resource Fund Act, the National Assembly is allowed to put forward an individual to sit on the board. The 3 to 5 member board is expected to be made up of mostly civil society representatives, with 1 nominee from the private sector and 1 from Parliament. Other members are to be selected by the President. President Dr. Irfan Ali has already expressed that some good names are being considered for the board. The head of state has also made it clear that he will select the individuals to sit on the board with the utmost integrity. The NRF Act provides that the directors shall be selected from among persons who have wide experience and ability in legal, financial, business, or administrative matters. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
The MV Berima, which was grounded to undergo repairs, is expected to resume operations shortly, since those repairs totaling 90 million have been completed. Amar Prasad has the details.
The 88-year-old MV Berima was docked for emergency repairs following an assessment by the Transport and Harbours Department. Public Works Minister Bishop Juan Edgehill on Tuesday took a first-hand look at the repairs on the vessel. He explained that a thorough repair was necessary as the boat has badly deteriorated.
The systems were heavily compromised, and taking into consideration, which is our number 1 priority, safety, we had to make a quality decision of getting this boat fully rehabilitated.
The minister stated that the vessel was not dry docked for repairs in 6 years, which led to some of the damage.
And this vessel have not been in dry dock for approximately 6 years. A vessel should be in dry dock every 18 to 24 months. And that's one of the reasons why all the anodes were missing, because they have a lifespan, they fall off. And then once they fall off, the damage goes directly to the hull. Every time you postpone maintenance, docking, it becomes costlier because the damage becomes greater and greater. So I think we have to come to a place of ensuring that we stay within the maintenance cycle, and we'll be able to manage things better.
The vessel underwent a 2-week intense rehabilitation at the Pretty Paul's dockyard in Supply on the east bank of Demerara. It is expected to be returned to the Transport and Harbours Department within 24 hours. The vessel's engine will then be inspected by MACORP to address any further issues. Meanwhile, Transport and Harbours Department General Manager Marceline Merchant said she was pleased with the quality of work done on the vessel within the short time frame.
That I am more than impressed with the works done on this vessel. I was here when the vessel came into that dry dock, and the vessel was in a deplorable state. It was terrible. And within 2 weeks, the vessel has been completed. Just the engines we need to look at now. And we are trying our best to see how soon we can get this vessel back in service.
Work is also ongoing on the Parika Supernam ferry to resolve some generator issues. For the Evening News, Amar Prasad.
Several weeks after local authorities sent off 20 samples to the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, in Trinidad and Tobago to test for the Omicron variant in Guyana, those results have returned as positive. Find out more in this Amar Prasad report.
Though he had already declared the presence of Omicron in Guyana, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony revealed that test results have confirmed the presence of the COVID variant on local shores.
So we sent 20 samples to CARPHA about a week ago, and as we have been pointing out in the media, we expected that these samples, most of the cases would be Omicron. So of the 20 samples that we have sent, 19 came back positive for Omicron. One was indeterminate because the sample itself, apparently they did not have enough genetic material in the sample to be able to sequence it. So outside of that, all 19 of the 20 came back positive for Omicron.
Previous tests had also confirmed the presence of Delta in Guyana. While the country had been experiencing a rapid spike in infections as a result of the Omicron variant, there is currently a dip in the curve.
For the first time in several months, active cases in Region 4 has been down to 144 cases. So that's really positive. And then the next highest cases that we have would be in Region 3, where we have 83 cases. So I think by and large the numbers are coming down, and that's a positive thing.
Notwithstanding, the health minister continues to encourage vaccination and responsible behavior.
While our numbers have been declining, and we're working towards normalization, we still have to be cautious. And having these big events, especially when they're unregulated, not complying with the COVID guidelines, can put people at risk. So if people want to hold events, we're not against holding events, but what we're against is that you're holding events, but you're not putting in the measures in place so that people can be safe. And I think that's what is important. So if anybody would like to have an event, they need to contact the task force and comply with the measures that we have in the COVID-19 orders.
To date, 432,821 persons, or 84.4% of the adult population, have received the first dose, while 328,954 persons, or 64.1%, are fully vaccinated. For the 12 to 17 age category, 33,602 persons have received one dose, while 24,293 are inoculated with 2 doses. In terms of booster doses, 51,125 have been administered. For the evening news, Amar Prasad.
2 persons who were fully vaccinated have died as a result of the novel coronavirus, taking the country's death toll to 1,222. The latest fatalities are an 83-year-old man and an 86-year-old woman, both of Region 4. Meanwhile, the country has recorded 25 new cases of the virus, taking the total positives detected to date to 62,971. There are 8 persons in the ICU, 25 in institutional isolation, 389 in home isolation, and 15 in institutional quarantine. Recovery stand at 61,327. Coming up, GCOM to begin continuous registration on March 7, and cops in dire need of better quality training, says Assistant Police Commissioner. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Complete control of power is in your hands with the ultimate U.S. brand Generac generators from Sylvie's Variety Store. Get the supply and reliability you need every time. From 1,800 to 8,000 watts of power for residential and commercial use. Recoil and electric start with gasoline engines. Generac generators from the authorized dealers Sylvie's Variety Store.
In addition to 2% royalty, did you know that Guyana earns 50% of the profits from oil production? More than any one of the Stabroek Block co-venturers, ExxonMobil, Hess and Sinnock. And by 2026, the government is expected to export 50 million barrels of oil per year, which can earn as much as $4 billion.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality, or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Satco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store, located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rijnveld.
John Lewis Styles introduces Eddie Domani, Vertical Sport, and Alberto Cardinale, a line of very affordable men's clothing especially suited for the workplace. Get polos from $2,800, dress shirts from $3,995, shirt jacks from $5,500, and even jeans and dress pants from $5,995. We can supply large companies with special sizes and colors upon request. Come visit us on Waterloo Street and ask for a quotation. Umbrellas, computer bags, footwear, and women's workwear are also available. John Lewis Styles, simply different.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. The Guyana Elections Commission has settled on March 7, 2022 as the date to kick off continuous registration, a necessary process for updating the list of electors and paving the way for the holding of local government elections. GCOM made the announcement on Tuesday, noting that the cycle of continuous registration will start on March 7 at all of GCOM's permanent offices across the country. GCOM has 28 permanent registration offices located in all of the 10 administrative regions. It is also understood that GCOM is looking to have an updated voters list in place by October in order for the LGE to be held. The last time GCOM conducted continuous registration was in 2019 in preparation for the March 2020 general and regional elections. Over $750 million has been set aside in Budget 2022 for the preparations to be undertaken by GCOM for the hosting of LGE this year. This money is part of an overall $4.1 billion allocation to GCOM in Budget 2022 and was examined and approved by the National Assembly during its consideration of the 2022 budget estimates. Fugitives Julian Yip and Kareem Hack were on February 25 successfully extradited from Guyana to the United States to face charges on separate sexual offenses, the U.S. Embassy has announced. This was as a result of a joint endeavor involving the U.S. Embassy, the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Director of Public Prosecutions, the Guyana Police Force, the U.S. Department of Justice, the United States Marshal Service, and the Diplomatic Security Service. Yip, a Guyanese national, will face charges in Pennsylvania for rape, involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, and sexual assault committed in 2017. Hack, a United States citizen, is facing charges in Florida for sexual battery, procuring a person under 18 for prostitution, and attempting to commit sexual battery in 2006. Hack was previously featured on America's Most Wanted in October 2008. In August 2021, the United States government made a formal request for the extradition of Hack and Yip, and they were arrested and placed before the courts in early February 2022. The two did not contest the charges and were subsequently extradited. This is the fourth extradition of U.S. fugitives from Guyana to the United States in the last 25 years. Luana McAllister joins us now to report that tomb raiders have struck again, this time at the burial ground located in the compound of the BUXTON Methodist Church on the east coast of Demerara. Here are the details.
The tomb located at the BUXTON Methodist Church, East Coast, Demerara, that was broken into sometime last night or this morning. The discovery was only made today and family members of the deceased are disgusted. The perpetrators raided the tomb of Manu Durant, an East Coast resident who was shot dead in 2015. They would have broken into the concrete tomb and removed the casket within which the man was buried. It is unclear if any valuables were stolen from the casket. In a live video that was seen by the Evening News, family and friends of the dead man expressed disgust that the man's final resting place was vandalized. After the discovery was made, the man had to be placed into a new casket and reburied by his family and friends. Durant was a well-known promoter who was shot dead in a strip club on North Road, Georgetown in June 2015. The man was at the time at the Berima Bar strip club when he got into a confrontation with another man and was shot to the chest and later died. In 2009, Durant was shot to the neck during an apparent execution attempt. In 2008, a wanted bulletin was issued for him in connection with the disappearance of Buxton resident Tanisha Morgan, who cops believed to have been a girlfriend of a now dead criminal, Rondell Feynman Rollins. Earlier this month, 2 men were remanded for allegedly breaking into a tomb and stealing belongings from the corpse. The incident occurred in Quarantine, Berbice. Reporting for the Evening News, I am Lawanda McAllister.
In a move to improve the quality of training provided by the various police colleges across the country, the Guyana Police Force has partnered with the University of Guyana to launch a course that will equip cops with better instructional training skills. Shane Marks tells us more.
Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Brutus at the official launching of the training program on Monday admitted that the quality of training being offered by the Guyana Police Force has been lacking in standards over the years. He said that this is what prompted the force to work in partnership with the University of Guyana to execute the course.
This came about when we took up the helm of the Guyana Police Force. We did analysis of many reports that were submitted to us in the past, including the Chang's Commission, the Russell Combe report, previous strategic plans, and we've done an analysis of the instructors that we have at our colleges, other staff present working there, our IT infrastructure, and generally the quality of the training that we provide at the college. While we've been doing this for quite a number of years, for some reason we have fallen away in terms of the quality of training that we provide for our staff. And as a result, we decided that who better to go to than our premier institution, the University of Guyana. This will be the first batch of other batches that to come, because we cater for succession, we cater for retirement, we cater for withdrawal and resignation from the force. So it's imperative that we have a cadre of trained instructors to deliver the modules to our policemen and women.
Brutus noted that the force's aim is to improve the quality of policemen and women in the next 5 to 10 years.
What we have found based on our analysis is that the training that we have produced to our recruits and our staff is not sufficient information for them to fully understand their duties and their responsibilities as police in Guyana. Use of force seems to be one of the areas that we are lagging behind. And in that regard, many of the locations and even some individual members are now currently blacklisted by the U.S. State Department. Training is one area that will assist us to get beyond the blacklisting so that we can benefit in closer collaboration with the U.S. Embassy.
The course seeks to enable the 75 ranks with the ability to administer the necessary training to the batch of 700 new recruits of the GPF that will commence training in May. The course will be accredited by UG and will be broken down into 3 different sections. Shane Marks, Evening News.
Shane Marks joins us again to report that some 200 villagers in Region 3 on Sunday benefited from a medical outreach which saw the administration of COVID-19 vaccines and boosters to persons in the area. Here's more.
In the name of humanitarian, several non-governmental organizations, including the Guyana Cancer Foundation and the Central Islamic Organization of Guyana, CIOG, on Sunday last conducted a medical outreach in Westminster Village in Region 3. Some 200 villagers from the community and other surrounding areas benefited from the activity. Members of the community were provided with pressure and glucose testing, HIV and STI testing, general checkups on the spot, and free psychological consultation. Prescription and over-the-counter medication were also made available. Diapers for both children and adults were also distributed to the villagers, along with clothing which was provided by CIOG. In addition, COVID-19 vaccines were also administered at the outreach. The outreach was organized by Davisia Asan with assistance from many organizations like the U.S. Embassy Civil Affairs Team, the Guyana Medical Relief, the National Blood Transfusion Service, and the National AIDS Secretariat. Shane Marks, Evening News.
Sects of Christians around the world, including in Guyana, are observing Ash Wednesday. On this day, believers receive an ash cross on their foreheads, placed there by a priest or minister. This symbolizes their acknowledgement that they have sinned and will repent. The Evening News took its cameras to the Cathedral of Immaculate Conception on Brick Dam, Georgetown, where worshippers turned out in their numbers to mark this holy occasion, the beginning of the auspicious season of Lent. Here's more.
Ash Wednesday represents one's grief and mourning of their sins. The day also marks the start of Lent, a period of fast that leads up to Easter, the day Christians believe Jesus was resurrected. During this period, believers choose to honor the 40 days that Jesus, who according to the Bible, spent in the desert after his baptism, during which he was tempted by Satan. The imposition of ashes on the forehead is full of the symbolism of repentance and conversion. It is a time when some Christians give up a thing or things that they enjoy as a form of fasting to see themselves in a new light. The Evening News visited the Cathedral of Immaculate Conception on Brick Dam, Georgetown during a midday mass on Wednesday, where a large number of persons were gathered. Bishop Francis Alain, head of the Catholic Church in Guyana, in an interview with the media, said that Lent should help to bring the issues in the country and around the world into focus.
My feelings about it are very strong, given some of the very troubling realities that we have in our world, and we can also point to some of those troubling realities we have here in our nation. And a feast day like this ought to help us bring that into focus, what these things are, and what we, because we are people of faith, what we ought to be doing to displace those troubling things.
This year, instead of receiving ashes in the shape of a cross on the forehead, which is unsafe in the time of the pandemic, persons were still able to receive them by sprinkling on top of the head, a return to a centuries-old way of receiving ashes. This newscast also spoke with some of those who attended the service, who shared what this period means in their lives.
I'm here today to celebrate Lent fasting starting today with Ash Wednesday. And for me, I have nothing that I have to put aside because I do nothing. I have no special thing that I have to put aside to go. I just keep my fast 40 days and 40 nights, and I like to give alms.
It's the beginning of Lent. We prepare for Easter. And we make some sort of sacrifice, something that you like, and you try to abstain from it. And if you could do it every year, you would find yourself like getting rid of a lot of things that you would be doing wrong from before, and you get rid of it. For instance, like drinking and smoking. This is something that I completely out of my life now.
For the Evening News, Lawanda McAllister.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbor Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Thursday, March 3 at 3 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Thursday, March 3 at 17 hours 5 for a period of 1.5 hours.
Guyana Harpy Eagles focusing to improve mindset in Regional 4-Day, and Butts Mohammed impressed with BCB talent. Details of these stories and more in the Sportcast, sponsored by Macorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
It happens. Your septic tank is full. All the waste from your toilet goes into your septic tank through the sewage line. When your tank is full, the two most common indicators are an overflowing tank and an overflowing toilet. It is recommended that Sevon's Waste Management empty your septic tank every 2 to 3 years to avoid any embarrassment. And before you can say, shh, it's gone. Call Sevon's Waste Management today at 218-1455 or 218-1156.
Over the years, ISG has been providing all sectors across Guyana with quality products and outstanding customer service. Proud distributor of NP and Ultra lubricants, engineered for tropical conditions. International trucks and parts, leading the change. SEM Machinery, a Caterpillar brand. SKF bearings and mounted products. Napa batteries. Tide power generators. Discover the greatest source of power. Industrial Supply of Guyana Inc. The best opportunity to make the right choice.